In the early hours of August 13, 2018, in Frederick, Colorado, American oil field operator Christopher Lee Watts murdered his pregnant wife Shanann by strangulation, and their two children Bella and Celeste, aged 4, and respectively 3, by suffocation. He buried Shanann in a shallow grave near an oil storage facility, and dumped his children's bodies into crude oil tanks. Watts initially maintained his innocence in his family's disappearance but was arrested on August 15, after confessing in an interview with detectives to murdering Shanann. Months later, he also admitted to murdering his children. On November 6, 2018, Watts pleaded guilty to multiple counts of first-degree murder as part of a plea deal when the death penalty, which was later abolished in Colorado in 2020, was removed from sentencing. He was sentenced to 5 life sentences without the possibility of parole, 3 to be served consecutively. Hello and welcome to the Grim Files. In this episode, we're going to be exploring the dark murders and the motives behind them of the Watts family killings. Christopher Lee Watts and Shanann Catherine Rozusek were from North Carolina, Christopher from Spring Lake and Shanann from Aberdeen. In 2010, Shanann Watts was struggling with health issues when she connected with Chris. In an online video recorded about 4 months before her death, she shared, "I was like, oh what the heck, I'm never going to meet him. Well, one thing led to another, and 8 years later, we have 2 kids, we live in Colorado, and he's the best thing that has ever happened to me." The couple married in Mecklenburg County on November 3, 2012. After the couple moved to Colorado, they started a family. Bella Watts, their first child, was born in December 2013. Shanann was so excited to have her first baby girl. Her family wrote in her obituary how she loved and cherished her. Less than 2 years later, in July 2015, Celeste was born. Oh, how she was so excited to be able to have another child because of her battle with lupus. Her family wrote, "Every moment with her was a blessing." The Watts family lived in a 5-bedroom home at 2825 Saratoga Trail in Frederick, Colorado, which they purchased in 2013. The family declared bankruptcy in 2015. Christopher was employed by Anadarko Petroleum, while Shanann worked from home, selling a product called Thrive for a multi-level marketing company named Lavelle. In 2018, Shanann became pregnant again with a baby boy she planned to name Nico. By all outer impressions, the couple's marriage was strong and loving. However, in the summer of 2018, Shanann noticed things had changed. "He has changed. I don't know who he is," she texted a friend on August 7th. "He hasn't touched me all week, kissed me, talked to me except for when I'm trying to figure out what is wrong. We've never had a problem in our relationship like this. I just want to cry." At approximately 1:48 a.m. on Monday, August 13th, 2018, Shanann, returning from a business trip to Arizona, was driven home by her friend and colleague Nicole Uthoft Atkinson. Over that weekend, Chris Watts had been home with their daughters. Later that day, Shanann and the girls were reported missing by Atkinson, who became concerned when Shanann missed a scheduled obstetrics and gynecology appointment and failed to return her text messages. After Shanann missed a business meeting, Atkinson went to the Watts residence at about 12:10 p.m. When the doorbell and knocks went unanswered, Atkinson notified Christopher, who was at work, and called the Frederick Police Department. A Frederick police officer arrived to conduct a welfare check at about 1:40 p.m. During the welfare check, Christopher gave the police officer permission to search the house, where the family dog was discovered unharmed, but no sign of Shanann or the girls was found. Searchers discovered Shanann's purse containing her keys and her medicine. Her phone was later located between the couch cushions in the family home. Her car was in the garage, which still contained the girls' car seats. Shanann's wedding ring was found on the bedside table during the search of their home. The FBI and the Colorado Bureau of Investigation joined the investigation the next day. Watts initially told police that he had no idea where his family might be and that he had not seen his wife since 5:15 a.m. the previous day when he left for work. He gave interviews to Denver stations KMGH-TV and Coosa TV outside the house, pleading for the return of his wife and daughters. Investigators with search dogs could be heard on the property during the interview. Authorities soon learned that Chris was having an affair with Nicole Kessinger, who worked at his company. After she learned about the murders, Kessinger cooperated with the police. Before coming forward, Kessinger appeared to worry about the public shaming that she might face. Did people hate Amber Frey? She typed into an internet search, invoking the name of the woman who was having an affair with infamous killer Scott Peterson, who murdered his wife, Lacey, and their unborn child in 2002. Kessinger told authorities that she believed that Watts was going through an amicable divorce. Chris Watts was administered a polygraph test, which he failed. He subsequently confessed to his father Ronnie, and then to authorities, that he had killed Shanann, but falsely claimed that he did so because Shanann had smothered their daughters. Chris claimed that he had discovered Bella's corpse and that when he found Shanann in the process of strangling Celeste, he strangled Shanann in a fit of rage, before disposing of their bodies at an Anadarko oil field where he worked. Chris was arrested that day. Chris marked the locations of the bodies on a photograph of the oil field for investigators, who arrived there on August 16 at 11 p.m. Chris' daughters, who had been smothered by Watts' bare hands, were found in crude oil storage tanks, while Shanann was buried in a shallow grave. Bella and Celeste's bodies had each been pushed through a hatch at the top of a different oil tank, with the lid being 8 inches, 20 centimeters, in diameter. According to the medical examiner, Bella had scratches on her left buttock from being shoved through this hole. A tuft of blonde hair was found on the edge of one of these hatches. On August 21, Watts was charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder, including an additional 1 count per child cited as death of a child who had not yet attained 12 years of age and the defendant was in a position of trust, unlawful termination of a pregnancy, and 3 counts of tampering with a deceased human body. By the day of his arrest, Chris had been fired by Anadarko. He was denied bail at his first court appearance. At a later hearing, his bail was set at $5 million, with him being required to put down 15% to be released. On November 29, Colorado authorities released surveillance footage captured in the early morning hours of August 13 on a neighbor's security camera, which showed Chris, hours after he killed his wife and daughters, loading a gas can into the bed of his pickup truck and then backing the vehicle into his garage. Police believe that he was transporting the bodies of his family to the remote oil work site where they were later discovered. This was shortly after Shanann was seen returning home from a business trip, and proved that she never left the home with their daughters the day they disappeared, as Chris had claimed to police. The case has been connected in the media to the crime of family annihilation, familicide. Many of these crimes occur in August before school starts, which may delay detection and investigation. According to former FBI profiler Candice DeLong, cases such as this are rare because family annihilators usually commit suicide after the murders, an action that Watts claimed to have contemplated out of guilt for his actions. In an interview with Dr. Phil, Watts's lawyer claimed that Watts had confessed to killing Shanann after an argument regarding divorce. During the murder, Bella walked in on the couple. Watts then told her that Shanann was sick. He loaded Shanann's body and the girls, without their car seats, into the back seat of his work truck. He later smothered the girls, one after the other. Watts pleaded guilty to the murders on November 6. The death penalty was not put forward by the district attorney at the request of Shanann's family, who did not wish for any further deaths. They were supportive of his decision to accept the plea deal. On November 19, he was sentenced to 5 life sentences, 3 consecutive and 2 concurrent, without the possibility of parole. He received an additional 48 years for the unlawful termination of Shanann's pregnancy, and 36 years for 3 charges of tampering with a deceased's body. His sentence began immediately. On December 3, 2018, Watts was moved to an out-of-state location due to security concerns. On December 5, he arrived at Dodge Correctional Institution, a maximum security prison in Waupun, Wisconsin, to continue serving his life sentences. Hundreds of mourners assembled at Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Pinehurst, North Carolina, to pay their final respects to Shanann, her daughters, and her unborn son, Nico. I always worried about her and the girls being so far because I couldn't protect them. Shanann's brother, Frankie Ruzusek, wrote in her eulogy. Ruzusek didn't mention Chris Watts in his eulogy, but had previously lashed out at him, calling him a heartless psychopath, and saying he stole my whole world. On March 7, 2019, a video of Chris Watts' full confession, which he'd provided to investigators in February, was made public. In the video, he told investigators from the Colorado Bureau of Investigation that on the night of the murders, he jumped on Shanann in bed after he told her he didn't love her anymore. He claimed she threatened to leave him and take the children. Then Watts drove 45 minutes to a remote oil field, with Shanann's corpse in the bed of the truck and his still-living girls in the back seat. Watts told investigators his 4-year-old daughter, Bella, walked into his bedroom holding her blanket and asked what was wrong with her mom. He told her that Shanann didn't feel well. Watts wrapped his wife face down in a bed sheet and tried to carry her downstairs, but lost his grip and ended up pulling her down the stairs. Bella watched her father drag her mother down the stairs and began to cry, and asked, "What's wrong with Mommy?" Watts told investigators. Watts then backed his truck into the driveway and put his wife's body into the back seat on the floorboard, and when he came back inside, his 3-year-old daughter, Celeste, was awake, he told investigators. Watts told investigators he put both daughters in the back of his truck on the bench seat, and he said Bella asked, "Is Mommy okay?" Bella and Celeste each had a blanket with them and Celeste had a stuffed animal, Watts told police, the report said. Watts then started to drive to the oil site where he had worked, and during the ride, his daughters dozed off and on and laid in each other's laps, he told investigators. At the oil site, Watts told police he took Shanann Watts' body out of the truck and laid her on the ground near where he ultimately buried her. Bella and Celeste, who were in the truck, asked him, "What are you doing to Mommy?" But he doesn't remember what he told them. Watts told police he put Celeste's blue Yankees blanket over her head and strangled her in the back seat, the report said. Bella was sitting next to Celeste at the time, but Bella did not say anything, Watts told police, according to the report. Watts told police he took the 3-year-old's body to the oil tank and dropped her inside. When Watts returned to the truck, Bella asked him in her soft voice, "Is the same thing gonna happen to me as Cece?" He told police. Watts told investigators he then strangled the 4-year-old with the same blanket, the report said. Bella fought back the best she could, according to investigators. Bella's last words were, "Daddy, no!" Watts told police, according to the report. Watts told investigators he hears those 2 words every time he closes his eyes. Watts told police he dropped Bella's body into a separate oil tank before burying his wife's body, the report said. In July 2019, Chris Watts claimed in a chilling jailhouse letter to his mother that he was a changed man with a newfound relationship with God. His mother, Cindy Watts, was interviewed in the HLN special, Killer Dad, Chris Watts Speaks. During the show, she read the letter she received from her son. "I'm still a dad. I'm still a son. No matter what," Watts wrote. "Now I can add servant of God to that mix. He has shown me peace, love and forgiveness, and that's how I live every day." A 2020 Netflix documentary, titled American Murder, The Family Next Door, revealed the final text messages Shanann sent her husband. "Finally I'm plane and about to take off," she wrote in her last text to Chris. "Thank God. Prayers for a safe flight. Love you." Chris did not respond. After the release of the widely viewed Netflix documentary, Shanann Watts' brother thanked the filmmakers on social media for giving a voice to the victims. "I highly recommend watching this," Frankie Ruzusek wrote on Facebook. "The director made sure we were a part of the whole process, and we met the whole team personally. They made sure we were okay with them making this before they even started. This documentary gives my sister a voice and she speaks throughout it," he continued. "It also shows what her life was like before he came along and how happy she was with her beautiful family until he cheated and turned into a different person and became that monster." And with that, today's episode comes to an end. Thank you for watching this episode of the Grimm Files. The Watts family tragedy is a stark reminder of the hidden darkness that can lurk behind seemingly perfect lives. This case captivated and horrified the world, not just because of its brutality, but because it shattered the illusion of normalcy that surrounded this family. As we close this chapter, let us remember Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and Nico, not for the manner in which their lives ended, but for the love, joy, and light they brought into the world. Their story urges us to value the connections we have, to recognize the signs of trouble in ourselves and others, and to seek help when needed. The Watts case is more than a tale of betrayal and loss. It's a lesson in the fragility of trust and the importance of compassion in even the darkest times. If you enjoy this kind of content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, so you get notified the next time I post. Stay vigilant, stay empathetic, and join me next time as I delve into another harrowing tale of crime and humanity. Until then, this has been the Grim Files.